There's a part of Japan's internet that most people only hear about through screenshots and warnings. A collection of words, phrases, and sites people say you should never search. They call it the Do Not Search list. It started on anonymous forums like 2channel in the early 2000s. Users made lists of websites that felt cursed, pages glitched, stories that made people disappear, and terms that brought up images that were damn right disturbing. Every generation of the internet has added new entries, and together they formed an iceberg. Tonight, we're going down that iceberg, layer by layer, through the stories that built Japan's digital underworld. So, Tier 1. This is the surface layer, the ones most people have already heard, and, for the most part, the stories that started everything. Red Room. The Red Room was one of the first viral cursed website stories in Japan. It started as a flash animation back in the early 2000s. When you opened the site, a red pop-up appeared that asked a simple question. Do you like? If you tried to close it, it popped back up again. This time, the full line showed, do you like the Red Room? After that, the screen turned completely red. A list of names appeared, and those names are said to be the previous victims. The rumor was that anyone who saw it would die soon after, and their name would be added to the list. It was created by a flash artist known as O Toro, and it spread fast through message boards and school computers. People linked it to a real murder case in 2004, with one of the suspects supposedly had the page bookmarked, and that pushed it into mainstream news. Even after Flash died and the original site went down, people still talk about the Red Room as the start of Japanese internet horror. Next is GAGABABA, which doesn't even sound scary at all, but this one wasn't a random site. It was actually made by a TV network. It came from the show called Tales of the Unknown, a long-running Japanese horror show that in 2015 had one of its episodes tell people to go online and search the word GAGABABA. When viewers did it, the search page glitched and the webcam light came on by itself. Then a shadowed hand reached towards the camera. Now the truth is that this was just from an episode of a show where the characters search the word and get cursed. It's not actually real at all, but some theorize that it was an attempt at marketing. However, 2 years later they brought it back, but it didn't work at all. Which makes me think that if they couldn't pull it off in modern day, then how on earth did they pull it off back then? In Japan, there's a quiet idea that if enough people believe something, it starts to exist. That attention gives it power. So when thousands of people type the same cursed word at once, it breathed life into it. Next is Kisaragi Station. It's a forum story that started on 2channel in 2004. A user named Hasumi was posting live from a train, saying the ride was taking too long and the stops didn't match the timetable. After about an hour, she said the train finally stopped at a station called Kisaragi Station, a name that doesn't exist on any rail map. She described leaving the train, seeing no one around, hearing distant drums, and then meeting a man who warned her not to go any further. Her last message was that her battery was dying, and then she stopped posting. And no one ever heard from her again. The format made it feel real. It unfolded in real time with other users replying as it happened. People even tried to find the station, searching by similar kanji or abandoned lines, but nothing matched. It's now one of Japan's biggest online legends. There's a movie, manga adaptations, and every so often someone tries to recreate the thread. I gotta say, this is one of my old favorite stories, and I remember reading it a long time ago. Hide and Seek Alone. This is actually a ritual. It appeared on 2channel around 2006 or 2007 as an occult experiment. The rules are pretty simple. You take a stuffed doll, cut it open, remove the stuffing, and replace it with uncooked rice, a red thread, and your own fingernail clippings, with some people even using blood. You sew it back up, fill a bathtub with water, and exactly at 3 AM say, "First is it." You stab the doll, leave it in the tub, turn off all the lights in the house, and hide. Then you say, "Now I'm it." This when people say things start happening. The TV's turning on, footsteps in the hall, and the doll moving on its own. To end the game, you're supposed to pour salt water on the doll and say, "I win." But if you forget to do that, the ghost supposedly stays in your house. Thousands of people actually tried this on sites like Nico Nico, and you even saw this slip over here with people posting 3 AM Kermit the Frog videos and that J Station malarkey. There's also the Among Us is Sus guy, he sort of did that sort of thing too, but I can imagine if you were one of the first to see and try this, the horror of hiding and thinking every little sound in your house is something is just sort of... I can see it getting to me. Tomino's Hell. Tomino's Hell isn't an internet creation at all. It's a real poem written in 1919 by Saijo Yaso. It tells about a boy named Tomino who descends into hell after committing an unknown sin. The language is pretty disturbing, talking about crying tears of blood, carrying heavy punishment, guided by his sister and mother. For decades it was just an obscure piece of literature, but then around the mid-2000s someone posted it on 2channel saying, "If you read it out loud, you'll die." With that warning, it sort of blew up. Now it makes its way onto almost every single do not search list. Now there's no evidence anyone actually ever died from it, but the truth is it's just a sad poem, but once the internet decided it was cursed, that's what it was. The Samejima Incident. Back in 2001, a thread appeared on 2channel where users mentioned something called the Samejima Incident. Nobody explained what it was, but everyone acted like they knew. Replies warned others not to talk about it, saying the thread had been deleted by authorities and that it was tied to the police or organized crime. No proof ever surfaced, and there was never an original Samejima post to begin with, but that mystery became the point. It's sort of an inside joke at this point, saying don't mention Samejima, you'll get deleted. And it was even mentioned by official news broadcasting in Japan, saying they couldn't cover it on TV. So the joke goes pretty deep. Welcome to Tier 2. This is where things get a bit more niche, so let's just jump into it. Say goodbye to Dolphin Dreams. When you open the site, you're immediately met with the picture of a hand-drawn girl, with the line, "Kill me first before moving on." If you click her, the drawing distorts with blood, and eventually she dies. The screen changes and 10 black squares appear. Each square leads somewhere different, a creepy manga, distorted faces, flashing colors, all around just a bunch of creepy stuff. The site behaves like a maze. Every click takes you somewhere else, and it's not really explained. Some believe it's tied to a producer called ATOLS, and that this whole thing is an art project. They think this because one of his songs shares the same name with something on the site, but either way, it's basically just interactive horror done pretty well. Kotoribako means child taking box. It's a legend from 2channel's occult board around 2005. Someone posted a story claiming that in a rural village there was a small wooden box used to curse people. If you opened it, it killed women or children around you. The post described it like a police investigation report. Case files, witness notes, specific analysis, but none of it was real. Still, it felt authentic enough that readers believed it was based on true events. Some people say that the box was built by members of a discriminated community, and that it was built to take revenge on outsiders. People claimed they felt sick after reading the thread, which only fueled the myth, and today it's treated as the blueprint for modern creepypastas. Nozaki corned beef. This one sounds ridiculous, but it's actually a weird horror website from the early 2010s. Someone made a fake homepage that looked like the official site for a Japanese canned meat brand called Nozaki. Everything looks normal for a few seconds, then it starts to break. The logo melts with cows turning into eyeballs, and the screen fills with distorted advertising music. The site pretends to be corporate, but all of a sudden turns into a nightmare. It became a minor legend because people found it by accident while searching for the real brand. But even now the official company has to clarify that they're not connected to it. Love, Courage, and Kashiwamochi. At first glance, this is a small browser puzzle game that looks cute. Bright colors, friendly text, but the story inside is dark. As you play, the text starts glitching, music reverses, and messages appear accusing you of killing someone. The game's ending implies you were in a coma the whole time, and caused a child's death. No one knows who made it, it just appeared on Japanese forums and was shared through file mirrors. It takes the sweet look of early 2000s web games and flips it into a psychological horror experience. The Alzheimer's Painter. This entry circulates as a set of images, a series of self-portraits by a man suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Each painting shows his face becoming more and more distorted as his memory fades. The pictures are real, but the legend around them is not. People claimed he died immediately after the last painting, or that the series was found at a mental hospital. But the truth is that they're taken from an art therapy study, nothing supernatural, but they spread online as proof of a mind unraveling. That's why they appear on do not search lists, simply due to the emotional impact. I Can't Be a Bride Anymore. This one comes from a painter, Yuko Tateshima. Her work uses soft pastel colors and children's book imagery. But every painting is about abuse, self, and trauma. The title, I Can't Be a Bride Anymore, became the nickname for a set of her paintings shared on early Japanese blogs. People call them forbidden images because they look innocent until you zoom in and see the details. Bruises, bandages, tears drawn in a crayon style. They're not dangerous to see, but the contrast between childlike style and adult themes is what made them uncomfortable. This one really gives me the vibes of early, 2015 horror online, where you would search through things like this. I definitely looked at stuff like this as a kid. It's the emotionally disturbing aspect it sort of puts you on edge a little bit. Mom's ID photo. This is a classic optical illusion story from Japanese message boards. Someone posted a scanned photo of their mother that looked fine on screen, but when they faxed it, the image fell apart, literally printing as a fragmented face. The story became the photo that can't be copied, and later people shared different versions of the same image, each slightly altered, so no one knew which one was the original. It's pretty light compared to the others, but it's sort of that Ghost in the Machine sort of horror that prospers in Japan. To be honest, I kinda like these. It feels like the opening for some sort of The Grudge spin-off, so I think it's kinda cool. Thumbnail Bye Bye. One started as a Nico Nico video tag. Creators uploaded harmless looking clips with normal thumbnails, but once the videos hit a certain view count, the thumbnails changed into disturbing images, faces, corpses, screams mid-frame, and then the videos vanished. No one knows how the tag worked or if it was just trolls using automated scripts, but it became another do not search term. The fear came from refreshing a page and seeing something different than before, a small reminder that the internet can change when you're not looking. Tier 3 is where some of the stranger stuff comes out, content that doesn't usually appear on Japanese wikis or old threads. These aren't super mainstream, but that just makes them all the more interesting. These are two names that float around the middle level of lists, both linked to old image collections full of distorted bodies, piercings, and stretched skin. Imeken translates loosely to image dog, but nobody knows where the name came from. The pages mix real surgical photography with fake edits. The pictures aren't illegal, just deeply unsettling. It's the kind of content people would post on shock forums in the 2000s, then disappear. They survived only as re-uploads and thumbnails, which makes them feel sort of ghost-like. Flashes of something that used to exist, but shouldn't have. Never-Ending Summer Vacation. This is a web novel written in a fake diary style. It tells the story of a student trapped in an endless summer of torture and medical experiments. Each day gets worse, but the calendar never moves forward. It reads like something out of a dream, and it's like some nightmare life Groundhog Day, but it's long gone now, and only archives and copy-pastes still exist. It's uncomfortable to read, not because it's gory, but because it feels being like stuck in someone else's nightmare that never ends. Mr. and Mrs. West. This one appears in multiple don't search lists, but confuses a lot of people. It's basically Japan's retelling of Fred and Rose West, two British serial killers. The entry is labeled as text only, but users reported that image searches are used to return real-life crime photos. The do not search part came from how the story was localized, graphic descriptions written like a tabloid report, but mixed with fiction. It's less about the case and more about how people in Japan reacted to seeing that kind of Western horror online for the first time. Radiowave Sites. These three are grouped together under the label Denpa sites. Denpa means radio wave, slang for people who post paranoid ramblings online. Each of these sites has a wall of text about hearing signals through the body, brain control experiments or being stalked by invisible groups of people. Most of them are long gone, but some screenshots survive. They weren't horror by design, but reading them felt like watching someone slowly lose touch with reality. The psychological unease of it all is what puts it on the iceberg in Japan's do not search list. Michidzure means taking someone with you, and it refers to the rumored packed website from the early 2000s. According to posts on 2chan, it had a countdown timer and a message board where users planned to die together. No confirmed copy of the site was ever found, so it's probably just an urban myth, but stories reappear about it every few years, with someone claiming they found a backup or that the countdown reached 0. Either way, it's just a bit of a scary rumor. Never verified art threads. A set of mysterious gallery pages that people claimed once existed on FC2 and LiveDoor. There isn't really any proof of this, but it still remains on Japan's do not search list. Apparently it was just a thread of pictures where the drawings moved when you scrolled. Whether they existed or not doesn't matter, but it seems to just have been a collection of strange photos. Eeky. This was supposed to be a private underground image board known for gore and extreme material. Searching Eeky in Japanese once returned random violent images from unrelated sites, which gave the rumor weight. Some people think it was never really a site, just a cache mistake that accidentally linked the wrong type of content. But the legend grew that Eeky was a hidden network where people traded death footage. Overall, kinda scary. Green Sister. A famous forbidden image that is supposedly shows a woman's corpse turned green. It circulated a lot on early horror boards with warning that the color change was caused by radiation exposure or supernatural rot, but in reality it was an altered morgue photo. But the way it spread around under vague names like Green Woman or Sister Photo gave it an almost urban legend feel. You couldn't trace its origin, just only the reactions. Blood 16 images. This one comes directly from Samejima lore. It's said to be a folder of 16 photos from the real incident, leaked before being deleted. No screenshots ever surfaced, only text posts describing them as beyond human comprehension. But I'm not gonna lie, this kinda sounds like part of the joke. People who have claimed to seen them also disagree on what they contained. By now, most fans treat it as complete myth, but it's still a part of the greater do not search list. Next is real banned videos. This is one of the first serious ones on the list, but both of these videos actually show violence from religious conflicts in Indonesia, and in Ukraine it shows them filmed by 2 men. They appear on Japanese do not search lists because they were once easily found through Japanese blogs linking to file mirrors. Modern versions are completely censored or removed, but they remain infamous and something that's totally taboo. And now we're at tier 5. Starting off with People's Temple. This one refers to 1978 Jonestown mass site in Guyana. Over 900 followers of a cult leader named Jim Jones died after drinking poison. On Japanese do not search lists, People's Temple is labeled as an image keyword. If you search it, you'll find famous aerial photos of hundreds of bodies lying side by side. There's nothing paranormal about it. The horror is entirely real. Unit 731, or Black Sun 731. This refers to Japan's real-life World War II biological warfare unit. Between 1937 and 1945, Unit 731 conducted experiments on prisoners in China. In 1980s, a Hong Kong exploitation film recalled Men Behind the Sun dramatized those events with disturbing realism, including animal cruelty and fake autopsy scenes. The movie and the real photos that circulate with it are what made the term a permanent do not search. It's historically true, but internet users mix the film stills with actual war crime documentation, so you never know what you're really looking at. Lost items in the Sea of Trees. This entry refers to pictures taken in Japan's some forest, also known as the Sea of Trees. The forest has been long associated with suicide, and online explorers sometimes posted images of abandoned belongings, shoes, notes, tents, or occasionally bodies. Those photos were rehosted endlessly under this tag, At first they were meant to raise awareness, but later they were treated as horror material. Now the phrase, oh man, has become shorthanded for anything related to the forest. It's a grief turned into real internet content, one of the darker aspects of don't search culture. Moto-O, meaning motorcycle guy, was the nickname for a gruesome accident photo that circulated on Japanese image boards. The image showed a motorcyclist who crashed at high speed. The body was not looking good and still sitting upright. It became one of those you think you can handle it pictures that people dared each other to find. No one knows the victim's name, and the image has been reposted so many times that it's basically a legend now. Thalidomide was a drug prescribed in the 1950s that caused severe birth defects. Japanese do not search lists include it because searching it in Japanese once led to medical photos of children affected by it. These images were used in anti-drug education and later stolen by shock websites. It's another case where historical documentation got reclassified as horror. People warned each other not to look, but not because the images were cursed, but because they were impossible to forget once seen. Soup Uncle. A photo set reportedly showing a man found in his bathroom, submerged in brown liquid that looked like soup. It was posted anonymously on message boards with captions claiming it was a murder scene. Later, users discovered it was part of a morgue archive, mislabeled by a blogger, but the name Soup Uncle stuck. It's a good example of how one misleading upload can become a permanent piece of internet folklore. Tire necklace. This phrase refers to a brutal execution method used in some African conflicts. The term appears in Japanese wikis because early video sharing sites hosted real footage of it under that Japanese title. Chicken Mike. This is one of the few darkly humorous entries in this tier. It's based on the true story of Mike the Headless Chicken, a chicken that survived 18 months after its head was cut off in 1945. Japanese sites shared the photo as proof of resurrection experiments. It's harmless compared to the others, but it fits this level because it mixes real biology with that uncomfortable, is this real feeling? Now onto tier 6. Starting off with the Goggle Virus. This one sounds simple, a fake version of Google called Goggle. It supposedly looked identical, but once you started searching for anything, pop-ups appeared, your screen flickered, and it started downloading random files. Users said it was filled with fake ads, malware, and virus change that crashed older computers. Some even claimed it hijacked your webcam and displayed your reflection mid-search. No working link has ever been found, just old posts warning not to type in Goggle or goggle.jp. It's a modern urban legend built around paranoia. What if the next site that looks safe isn't? Never-ending URLs. There's a small cluster of missing link rumors, URLs that loop infinitely when you click them. The story goes on that if you try to leave the page, your browser opens multiple tabs, each one loading slower than the last until your device crashes. Some users claim they found them through old Japanese link directories that no longer work. No saved copy remains, but posts about it still circulate. Lost Doll forums. These are said to be early 2000s message boards where people roleplayed as dolls that had come to life. The posts were written in broken sentences, as if the dolls were learning to type. Many claimed to be reborn as versions of discarded toys, and after a while the site's admin began posting in all caps saying, "They're talking to me too now." Then the forum vanished. No evidence was found, but screenshots occasionally reappear on image boards. It feels like something that could have been an ARG or just one lonely person building a narrative for years. And now, at the very bottom of the list, sits the concept itself. The list that contains everything. They're admitting the real curse isn't any one page, it's the act of looking. The wiki has thousands of entries, many long deleted, but each time a new rumor appears, it eventually gets added to the list. In that way, the list is alive. It absorbs fear, rumor, and curiosity until it becomes the monster itself. The fact of the matter is that you can never finish Japan's Do Not Search list. It grows every year, changing as Japan's internet changes. It's the digital version of an endless horror, one that updates faster than you can keep up. So we've reached the bottom of the iceberg. If you guys enjoyed this video, Please be sure to subscribe so I know to do stuff like this in the future. We're trying to reach 20 million subscribers, so any help I can get is appreciated. Be sure to comment down below the scariest thing from this, and if you searched anything on the list and found something you regret. This has been Noxley, and thanks for watching.